Hello there, c'est moi. It's Friday evening to be exact. And I had a bit of a nap earlier, miraculously. It's when you feel that you can relax a little bit and let go of the many commitments of the week. That said, I've been trying to follow up on psychology lectures, everything from cognitive affective dimensions to personality, personality as process, as opposed to a collection of traits, or traits, as most people say, as well as stuff around instrumental conditioning and experimental psychology. It's a lot to take in. Yeah, I'm not going to underestimate that. And so I'm trying to make notes so that I've got study material for when we get to the point of the exams. Before that, though, we have major assignments, and one of them is arguing the case for substance use disorder as being brain-based or alternative explanations. And the other one looks at a survey that we all completed that pertains to gender equality and framing of questions to see if there's an interaction between the framing and the political persuasions of people, whether progressive or conservative, around gender equality. One presents gender equality as a zero-sum kind of frame. That is to say that feminism or action that is for women and to address women's disadvantage and sexism and so on will be detrimental to men. And the other one, which is to say that it's for everyone, that everyone will benefit from it. And we've got the initial research questions that underpinned the thinking before the survey data was gathered and analysed. Something like 709 of us were surveyed. And from that, we have to develop a critical literature review. They're eminently doable, but you've got to keep your eyes on the ball all the time with study, and there are things I haven't even done, like a chapter I'm supposed to have written for the end of the month. And it's the 21st of August. But anyway, no stress, no stress. There'll be a way through. So si po mai yerba mate. Any other news? I felt sad for some of today, and I think it's coming on the back of exhaustion. I think I hit the realization that a certain someone is not coming back in the immediate term. That they're so caught up with the reasons that they're back there, and they're not going to detach very easily. And I'm not enough of a pool. Australia isn't enough of a pool, and really, in the midst of that, I keep thinking that my transition, my changes, are also positioned as something that means our relationship's not the same anymore. And it's something I knew before their departure, and we've discussed it as well. But I was always accommodating and, saying, if you come back, I will help you with employment, and also, you can stay in a spare room here. But I have to learn to say that when someone responds to a simple question like, do you think you'll be back in November for the event? This is the conference I'm organising. And that they could get work for, like, with catering at the very least, and that they would be interested in. The answer is, don't pressure me. And I didn't react badly with them. We're on good terms, but I just kind of said, why do you see that as a pressure? Remain curious when people make comments like that. And from there it was like, everyone's asking me this, everyone wants to be dueño de mi tiempo, owner of my time. And I'm like, I'm not everyone. And also, that wasn't my intention. It was because of pragmatism. And then they're like, you've asked me 4 or 5 times. Yeah, well, it's been 4 or 5 months. My understanding is that their mum is going to be able to get some general tests on Monday to see if she's clear for an operation, which may be scheduled for mid-September. So I'd always assumed that was going to be the main mountain to climb. And whilst there's always, the possibility of challenges with health even after an operation, about which I'm extremely familiar, having been through it a multitude of times with my mother. That was kind of used as, that's why I don't want to feel pressured. And I'm like, okay, fair enough, but remember, I'm the person that actually understands all of this. I'm not just anyone that's asking you when you're coming back. I've been through this with my mother, and then some, so many emergency situations. I can't begin to relate it all, but I, out of any one of their friends, would know better. Particularly since their friends are considerably younger than us and not at that stage of life. But anyway, a few other things happened as well, and not connected with them, but instead an earlier conflict where I kind of made a query into why a reaction was given in such a way and why information that was solicited or a recommendation, sorry, my hair's a mess, was not taken in good faith and instead dismissed, erupted in a kind of really bad response from that individual. And I just think, I wish people would be more self-reflective and view me, when I make a suggestion or when I ask them about why they've said that and how it felt for me in this instance dismissive, that they actually were more reflexive. And that seems to be lacking in some quarters. I always do my own self-reflection, reflexivity, insight, even if you do have emotional triggers or whatnot. Anyway, since I'm studying psychology, chances are I'll get to understand that a little bit better, right? It goes alongside my peer support work, by the way. I did a shift last night, and the second call was quite demanding. So, yeah, there's just been a number of things that have just, dumped me on the shores of Friday. I've just wanted to, process, and that's where I'm at. But I'm also getting someone over on the weekend to help assemble the beds and clear a lot of the clutter here, because I just haven't had the time and the cognitive focus to really do it. I've done some of it, but I'm really needing to get my house in order, quite literally. So you can hire people for that kind of thing through Airtasker, if you ever wondered. Lastly, I have a friend staying for about 4 or 5 days in the coming week, which will be really nice before they end up returning to Chile. They haven't been in Sydney for a while. I mean, I have to work, so I won't necessarily be available during the whole day, but it'll be really nice for them to experience Sydney for this putative last time. I don't think it will be the last time. But also for us to reacquaint ourselves, because I don't think that we've actually met each other in person since I began transition. Would you believe it? I don't go to Melbourne, they live in Melbourne that often, and I only went about a year ago, and I didn't get to see them. I got to see 2 other friends, which of course was really lovely. I can't believe that's a whole year ago. That was for the Queer Displacements Symposium by the Forcibly Displaced People's Network, organised by them. Anyway, that's quite a mouthful, isn't it? Everything I've related there. I don't even know if this is going to record properly, but I just wanted to check in and tell you where I'm at and wish you all a good weekend. And leave comments below. Nice, of course, if you can relate to any of this, and also subscribe.